In this class, we're going to be doing some work with this concept of ecocriticism. And this little introductory lecture is designed to give you just kind of some basics about what ecocriticism is. But before we can do that, we probably need to pause and think a little bit about criticism in general. Many people will think that when we talk about interpreting literature, it's a pretty easy thing. We've got a book or a poem, and that's what this is right here. We'll call this a text. And we interpret it by reading it, by studying it, by making sense of it. And at a certain level, there's some truth to that. But then there are other people who are going to say, oh, but wait a minute. We need to know something about the author, the person who wrote the book. And we can't really understand the text without at least understanding something about the life of the person who wrote it. There's probably some truth to that too. Let's add some more layers on this though. What about the culture in which the writer lived? We'll put a big circle here to represent that. Certainly if we're talking about a text that was produced in the 1800s, especially the early part, we need to know something about Romanticism. But then there's the other stuff. What about us as readers? Another way of thinking about criticism is to say that we as readers bring our own experiences to the text, and that to interpret a text means that we need to better understand ourselves as readers and to understand how that text is working on us. And then there's yet another way of thinking about this, and it's kind of related to that role of the reader, and that's to say, what happens if we come to literature with a set of questions already in mind? So what would it mean if I read a text from a feminist perspective? Well, it would mean that I would look for the ways in which the text represents women. I might look at the ways in which the culture in which the text was produced represented women, what the roles for women were in that culture. But you can see we're all coming up at the text from a specific set of questions. When we talk about ecocriticism, it probably helps to break the word apart. On the one hand, we have criticism, so we're talking about a way of approaching texts. And we also have, on the other side, the word eco. And you should recognize this from words like ecology, some others, basically things that are dealing with the environment. So ecocriticism, in its most simple form, is the work of understanding literary texts and how they shape and inform our relationship to the environment. So this is very much a mode of criticism that approaches literature with a certain set of questions already in mind. It's not just as simple, though, as asking about landscapes. And the article that you're going to read for today, written by Lawrence Buell, attempts to kind of show how there are two different waves of ecocriticism that have developed, and he tries to distinguish between those. So after reading that article, you should be prepared to talk about what ecocriticism is, how it works, and how it has developed over time.